Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this edition of the Service Impact Podcast, where we help service businesses sift through all the noise to better understand the truth about today's marketing and advertising strategies, tactics, and emerging technologies. And on today's show, we're going to problem solve for you because you need video and you need it next week. And you don't have any footage. What do we do? And we're going to talk about that today. And I'm being joined by the director of video production and photography for the mothership Outside Communications, Mrs. Rachel Koehler. Rachel, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Lance?
I am doing awesome. And I've got to give kudos as we're sitting in the studio that you led the project on this studio that we're sitting in too. So it was like, we go to other locations and do sets, and then you got to set one up here. It's kind of a cool project, eh?
It is so much fun, and even just tapping into the strengths of the people around me to make it all come together. It's been one of the most exciting things over the last several months.
That was so New England Patriots right there. That was like, it's all about the team. It's the team. It's the team.
Legit, I could not have done this. I was like, we're building a podcast studio.
Yeah.
This is not a Rachel project. This is a team project. Hardcore.
It was good. So, yeah, let's behind the scenes. These aren't the walls to this studio space. It's actually, this is all mocked up and done up and lit well and stuff like that. But you were behind it all. You can do the Patriots way and go team. We know who did it. Okay.
Okay.
So.
I'm just going to say I'm glue. I stick together good things.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I like that. You're the glue. You're the glue lady. Okay, so we're getting into a common problem. It's actually more common than people might think. It's like, well, why you've got video needs? You don't have any video. That's a problem. Yes, it is a problem. Oh, we need you to shoot in the next 2 or 3 days, and it's like. You are not going to have, I mean, even a one-day shoot isn't going to do this for you. You're not going to have it. But we've got other options that we're going to get into. But first, before we get into like the solution on this, like how do we solve this problem? Let's go straight to the end and let's pretend we have time. And we've got time and we're just going to make this like, we're going to do it the right way. We're working with a company. They're asking like, hey, we want to do a lot more video in the future. And we think you should because we use it all over the place for various marketing purposes. How should we go about making sure that we've got enough, video assets, just ongoingly, just responsibly as a part of the marketing? How do you do that, Rachel?
So first off, I think a big piece of that puzzle is looking at the company somewhat holistically. What are their goals and what type of video do they need? So to start, you might say, okay, are you a service company? Like what sort of videos do you need? Is social video content valuable to you? Do you just need a video to introduce your company? Do you need product videos? And kind of putting on that lens to start, just assessing what do we need? We need videos so broad. Let's narrow it down and look at our goals. And then from there say, okay, what type of video footage do we need to achieve those goals? So prioritizing, right? Because you have a certain amount of resources. And I mean, in my world, I'm like, put all your budget on video. But of course, I don't actually think you should. Let's be strategic and say, how can we best make use of your resources? And even if it's like, so I would say almost every company we've worked with has HR needs. You want to hire people. You want to show people how great your company is and why you're great to work for. And so the footage for those types of videos is often things you can film at company huddles, at your annual retreat, at even say a convention your company is attending where there's a lot of industry professionals there. So you want shots of people smiling, interacting. Maybe it's a company party of some kind. And so what we'll do with a lot of companies is we'll say, let's look ahead at your calendar the next couple months, the next year, something like that, and map out what are the events or even a big cool job for one of our customers, a big job where we could get some really cool shots that represent you. And so then we map out the calendar, prioritize which things should be filmed. And that's really kind of a starting point for building our bank of content. And for some customers, like one that I'm thinking of right now that we've been working with for 6 years roughly, it's been pretty amazing what we can do with the footage bank that we've built with them. And it's so exciting. They're like, oh, hey, we need to do this quick HR campaign for social. And I'm like, yeah, I'll grab, what do you need? And they're like, well, we really want this one to show our tech people on stage speaking authoritatively. And it's like, yep, grab a couple clips, this guy, that girl, like, plug it in. Or it's like, no, we want one showing how fun and friendly it is. This is a campaign about people. And then we pull a collection of, people just laughing, talking with each other, high-fiving, just showing that company culture. And then other ones, it's like, okay, let's make a commercial talking about we do this and this for you. And then we have footage of, someone doing an install of a product or whatever service they provide. And so really it's to build the bank, I'd say looking ahead at your calendar and just prioritizing. Like, hey, we have 10 possible things. Let's pick the top 2 and get them filmed and start building out that bank and cataloging that footage for the next however long that it'll be useful.
So it starts with a commitment. So in other words, identifying it, saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then, in our case, we just help companies think about these instances where we can kind of take advantage of a situation. We can take advantage of a moment. And then we can start building this inventory. And we actually use a matrix where we have shot, where we're developing like shot needs, like ongoingly. It never stops, does it?
No, it never stops. And even to that point, it's maybe I'm a little going off topic,
I know. But this is
just
good.
thinking.
I love
So
this
just this morning,
Uh-huh.
this is case in point. One of my customers emailed me and said, hey, we have a new C-suite member. We need to introduce them to the company. They are crazy busy, but they're going to be in town on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get your guys to come in that afternoon, block off an hour of his time, and film a quick video to introduce him for the internal company, and then a quick video to introduce him to the world? That public LinkedIn, meet our new C-suite member person.
Right.
And it's like that customer is so good at thinking ahead. Like, okay, there's a need. Let's capitalize on it. Let's grab the footage when we can. And boom, we have it. We make it work. So it's really, thinking ahead to get that. And when we're filming, we'll have 2 scripts for him, an internal introducing him to the company script and an external script. But also, because he's there and he's such a busy guy, we'll take maybe 15 minutes, grab some B-roll shots of him interacting with people in the company. And that B-roll is gold. We use that kind of stuff all the time for them. And so it'll fit into the videos we're making, but we're also thinking, how can we capitalize on that time for future needs? And of course, we'll grab, a headshot, whatever still photography there's just so many uses for it. I get overwhelmed with the opportunity. It's very exciting.
But the opportunity is what gives us the possibilities to actually serve the client later on. It's like we have to think about these things. And for, companies with in-house teams that may be listening, it's like all of this stuff is always on your radar. It's like, you've heard the adage that says never let a crisis go to waste. But in our world, it's like don't ever let a moment or an event go to waste, because it's an opportunity to build those stores. And this goes all the way along the line, down the line. I mean, we're talking about C-suite, we're talking about HR, but think about all the services, that a company, provides. And that's where this shot list, this matrix kind of comes in of what do we have? What's our inventory? And I guess that's the next question, last question before we segue into the real topic. And that is, like, how do you keep track of all these shots? Like, how do you resource and know where to go grab these things?
That's a great question. And to be honest, I think we're still improving. Like, there's a level of constantly looking at what's out there, especially with AI tools, which I know we could get way too in the weeds on the AI tools and how they can help us just with cataloging, but making sure everything is clearly labeled, like dates, names. And so it's trying to follow. I have specific patterns that I reuse for all the different customers. So I know it's ideally naming files and naming folders and creating project files in a very specific way to where, yeah, it's like, I know I need that shot. This group of clips is labeled with the names of all the people, all the prominent people. I mean, again, I'm not going to name everybody in a crowd shot,
No, right?
But all the prominent names of people, the event dates are really important because there comes a point with, like, okay, a certain person, if it's a close-up, I don't want to do it 5 years later. It's like, let's get something fresh. But keeping everything dated, named, labeled, and, cataloged in some kind of list is, yeah, it's key.
And all those things are searchable.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Putting it in a catalog that is totally searchable. So if I'm like, I need shots of generator installs, blip, 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 generator, and there you go.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful.
Okay. All right. We promise we know you still don't have any video. And so that's what we're going to get into.
But you should record video. I mean, that's
ideal.
Anyway, yeah. I'll get off my
anybody that
soapbox.
comes to us in this situation that we're about to talk to, we highly encourage them to migrate towards a more proactive approach.
Yes.
Very kindly.
Very, very
And most
kindly.
listen, and actually most of our customers, like, they get it too. I mean, most of our customers are just flat out busy, and they've got things that they're constantly looking to improve. And as they're building their brand, as they're building their business, it's like, my gosh, there's 100 areas to work on, and this just happens to be one. And timing and where they are in their journey. This all, it's a very common problem. Okay, so filming's not an option.
Okay.
How are we going to go about this? I need a video in 5 days, and it's got to be good. It's got to be brand centric, and it's got to communicate the message. I don't have a script, but I need you to do that too.
Well, first I need 15 minutes to cry. Can I just have that?
5 days. Okay, so 15 minutes is over.
15 minutes
no
to cry.
No more crying.
No more crying, And actually, there's a kind of a number of ways to tackle this depending on what the video use is. So I'm going to think of a specific customer that we've had this very scenario with numerous times. And we need to get a message across about a deal coming out, a certain sale on something or a promotion kind of a thing. And so what we do is we get a hold of their brand colors, their brand fonts. I work with Shelly, our brand person, to get really concise wording to get the message that they want to get out. And then I go over to our designer. I'm like, hey, I want to create a quick motion graphic, text only video with this messaging. Make it look awesome. And so then our design guy will build out a set of frames. And sometimes we have some back and forth. I'm like, hey, could you do this different? Because in my mind, if we animate it, this may be cool for a still frame, but for animation could be, so we'll work back and forth, working, with the design guy and a video team, like that synergy is just awesome. And so we'll get some really solid frames. And then from there, we animate it, we throw on some music, and boom, there's that messaging video that feels really solid and works for that output. That's one scenario. So another scenario is it needs to be a bit more than that. We need actual faces and footage and like a story. This is where stock footage comes in. And there was a time in my life when I was very anti-stock footage. I just, don't use stock footage. But that's not realistic. We're talking business case here. ROI, all that, like, let's be strategic. And so maximizing on stock footage. So I have specific libraries that we can pull from. And I have several different libraries from different providers that, have a different range. If we have some very niche customers and it's like, yeah, I need a shot of water damage in a medical facility. And that one took some artsy thinking to make that work. But so I'll work with Shelly, and that's, again, talking to like me being glue and having a team, like that truly is the secret sauce of making this work. If a customer comes to me and says, hey, I need a sweet video in 5 days, we don't have a script. If I just said, yeah, I'm Rachel and I'm awesome and I can do it, it wouldn't be awesome. I mean, it might work. It might work. I know enough of all the pieces I could make it work.
But it's a team effort. It's
oh my goodness.
Copywriter, brand people, designers.
It takes it up a level.
The
instantly.
Customer.
Yeah.
It has to be a part of it because,
oh my goodness.
Because obviously we're trying to hit the nail on the head with the messaging. And it's like if you've got a customer that can't communicate what they need right out of the gate, it's like we can't pin our ears back and get after it. I mean, we end up doing lots of searching and finding, and that's it, and that's not it, and stuff like that. And in the meantime, you're down to 3 days, and now all of a sudden the just the allotted time that you've got is going to constrain your final product.
Oh my goodness. We've had so many projects where timing constraints drove decisions. But again, with I want to say groupthink, but that's a negative word. But with a team, it's like I'll call somebody on the team strategically who can help with a specific problem and say, hey, help me brainstorm this. How can we make this impossible thing happen in a short period of time? Like really leaning on resources. So in my one example of the water damage for medical facilities thing, we had limited time, but also limited budget because the use of this video, it didn't make sense for me to go out and hire a voiceover artist because, number one, we hadn't, for that particular customer, we don't have a specific brand voice already decided. Some customers will find just the perfect voice person and just use that person over and over for that company as kind of their brand voice. This company didn't have a brand voice. I didn't really want to spend the budget for what this project was for. It just didn't make sense. And so I'm like, okay, we are going to do an AI voice. And there's a lot of controversy around AI voices, and I have...
Did it sound good?
It did.
So, there is no controversy in that. Does it sound good and it saved money?
It saved money and it sounded good. But again, I always want to push back a little bit on having conversations with customers where they say, well, why don't we just use an AI voice for everything? And there are huge... at least currently, significant limitations and a loss of inflection for where if the video was a couple minutes long, you would get to a point where people don't want to listen anymore because it's missing that human inflection. And again, there's tools out there that are being developed. 6 months from our conversation today, maybe that won't be a problem. I'm not discounting that as an option. But for this one, it was such a short video. And again, I tweaked a lot of settings. I love AI tools where it doesn't just spit out something, but it gives you sliders for parameters of how the AI interprets things. And so for this one, I stuck in an AI voice, messed with it for like 20 minutes, did like 7 different iterations of different parts, plugged it in. We had an AI voice, we had stock footage, we had music. And I made sure to have lots of actual real human faces in there because, again, once you put an AI element in there, you lose some humanity. And humanity is really what connects with people. So I got some really emotional shots. This cute little kid, this doctor in the office, and then the office is empty. And then you see a storm and water dripping and you associate the images and you're like, the doctor can't take care of the poor child. And I mean, I may have been the only person
serious.
that felt that.
That's serious. I'm sorry, but Rachel, thank you for that. I appreciate it. You made my day better. That was great.
So anyway, people watching it may not feel the depth of nuances and like cry the tears with me that I cry when I'm editing, because crying is a big part of the process. But the end product, everybody loved it. That's the bottom line.
That's it.
It's just like we achieved the goal. We stayed in the budget. We got done what we needed to do in a short amount of time. And for that project, that was the right solution. So.
All right. So I am wondering, because we don't have time for any of it. We're really low budget.
Oh.
But I've got camera footage.
Camera footage. What do you mean? Lots of people have footage, and I have questions about that footage.
The questions come quick, don't they?
They do.
Let's start with this before we put a bow on this thing.
Yeah.
Do we use camera footage, like iPhone footage?
iPhone footage. Yes. With an asterisk.
Tell me about the asterisks.
I have received phone footage where it's 360p. Like the frame is so small, when I blow it up to the size we need, it's too blurry. I'm sorry, I can't use that. I want to, and I can use AI tools to sharpen it up a little bit, but there's a level of footage where I just can't use it. Or if it's super shaky, or if it's something where we need the voice of a person talking on that footage, and the audio is just, and again, we have AI tools to clean up audio, but there's only so far we can push. So there's a level of quality necessary in that footage, but I have absolutely, for customers, like one customer's like, hey, we can't fly you out to Texas where our other branch of our company is, but we need this person in Texas. And hey, guess what? I filmed them on my phone. Can we stick this footage in this video that you're making as part of the whole compilation? And sometimes the answer is yes. And a lot of times I'll work with specific customers that have situations where they're like, hey, we have guys in these shoots, or on these jobs, I should say, where you can't bring a camera person. But it's like, man, there's cool things going on. I'm like, hey, let me equip you. I want you to film the footage. And maybe it's not up to like my artistic sense of what I want. But again, it's like, let's do what's best for the customer. Let's equip them to get the footage as best they can. And so, yeah, we've used a surprising amount of cell phone footage. And in some of the videos where the way we stick it in, to the average person, you might not notice that one clip in there was cell phone footage captured by one of our talented customers. And we just had to give them a couple quick tips, and they got what we needed. And they saved money. Because
some of the stuff that we might need could be, a day's travel and a 5-hour drive into remote wilderness. And all of a sudden, and if we can just pass those instructions on to somebody, I mean, it may be what we need, and it may be absolutely perfect. I mean, as long as they do it the right way, and that segues nicely to
brilliant segue. Thank you,
checklist.
Lance.
We've got a checklist that we use to help customers capture great cell phone video. And it's actually, there's more to it than you might think. And between our agency and our customers, it takes teamwork. And I think Rachel's alluded to it today, that it kind of takes everybody. And this is just one of the checklists where we can equip people that aren't video people, and we can get what we need. Just email us and we'll send it to you. You can email us at serviceimpact@outsidecommunications.com, and we will pass it your way. Rachel, thank you so much for taking time and exploring this actually very common problem.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to just talk. It's fun to just talk.
Isn't it fun hanging out in your own studio?
It is amazing, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so glad. All right. If you found this episode valuable. Please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us continue to bring actionable marketing strategies to service businesses around the country. And if you have any questions, feel free to email the show at serviceimpact@outsidecommunications.com. You can also find the show archive, subscription links, and lots of other things at serviceimpact.com. We'll see you next time.